Alan Parry. Some familiar Premiership names amongst the Swedish side, of course. Magnus Hedman, Roland Nielsen with what, his 1000th cap. He just keeps going, doesn't he? Freddie Ljungberg up front, and of course Larsson from Celtic. Bulgaria now in the post-Stoichkov area, playing for nothing more really than pride. Let's join our match commentators then, Brian Marwood and Alan Parry.
How difficult an opponent he can be, certainly against England.
And welcome to the Rosunda Stadium here in the city of Solna in Sweden for this Group 5 qualifier. 9 minutes gone, it's Sweden 0, Bulgaria 0, but the Swedes had an early chance inside the first 5 minutes, in fact, to take the lead when from a corner which Bulgaria had a lot of trouble clearing, the Celtic player Johan Mjalby was left with a relatively easy chance to stab home from just a couple of yards out, but couldn't get his shot on target, and Bulgaria survived. It's a tie, of course, which could see the Swedes virtually clinch their place in next summer's European finals. A victory here for Sweden against Bulgaria would give them 16 points, and with their last match against the whipping boys of Luxembourg, albeit it is away, then a final points tally for the Swedes of 19 seems a reasonable prediction. And that, incidentally, would mean that England could not finish as group winners, irrespective of their performance today against Luxembourg and of the result in Poland next week. Sweden on the attack again here on this warm, sunny afternoon in Solna. The Swedes in the 5 qualifying games so far have won 4. The only points dropped have been, or were, in their goalless draw with England at Wembley in June. And former England international Brian Marwood alongside me here. Sweden making all the early running.
Yeah, they look very good indeed, Alan, and you can see why they came to England and were so successful at Wembley. They're a very organised side. They look very dangerous, especially with the height and the prowess, as the likes of Kenneth Anderson, Mjalby, who's been playing more accustomed, the Scottish fans to see him as a centre-half, playing as a midfield player, getting into forward positions alongside Larsson and Anderson, and it really has posed plenty of problems for Bulgaria.
Foul there by Kirillov on Kenneth Anderson has given the Swedes a free kick in a very dangerous position. And the Celtic player, Henrik Larsson, could test goalkeeper Ivankov here. Full house crowd to see the Swedes in action, hoping to qualify for the finals of the European Championships for the first time ever, other than when they hosted the tournament a few years ago. Larsson's walked away from this free kick. The referee, who is from Israel, Danny Koren, very insistent on the defenders being the full distance away, and he won't hesitate to take the yellow card out here, as the quickly taken free kick in the end by Kenneth Anderson didn't really trouble goalkeeper Ivankov.
Well, he looks quite disappointed with himself, doesn't he, Kenneth Anderson? I think he really feels that he ought to have hit the target. There was no speciality in what they were going to do there, Sweden. It was always going to be nicked to him, to the side of the wall, try to open the angle up, but he'll be disappointed not to hit the target from that particular area.
The Swedes in the yellow, need I remind you, the unbeaten leaders of the group, 13 points, as I say, from 5 games. Scored 6 goals before today. The only one they conceded was when Alan Shearer scored against them, when Sweden, of course, beat England 2-1 last year. Sweden have lost only once in their last 11 internationals, and that was a friendly against the Republic of Ireland in Dublin in June. They went down 2-1. Kenneth Anderson, one of the 2 rock-solid central defenders. Roland Nielsen, well known, of course, to Premiership fans in England for his time at Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry City. Bjorklund, the other of the almost irreplaceable, it seems, central defenders. They've been together for so long for Sweden.
Bulgaria at the moment, Alan, really just trying to take the sting out of this game, because in this opening 12 minutes they really have had to defend, and they've had to defend in great numbers. When you look at the number 9, Hristov, he has had to come back and double up at times as a midfield player, and he is a massive centre forward in the mould of Kenneth Anderson, but he really has had nothing to feed from.
Late challenge there. I think the referee saw it. He tried to play the advantage, which won't be of any great consolation to Patrick Anderson, who was on the end of that challenge. Bulgaria next to bottom of Group 5 with only Luxembourg below them. They've got 5 points from 6 games, 1 win, 2 draws, 3 defeats. Their only win coming inevitably in Luxembourg, and both those draw matches, of course, were against England, which has made the position that much more difficult for Kevin Keegan's team. So the thumping victory at Wembley earlier today will send them for that vital match in Poland in midweek. Send them out there with great confidence, I'm sure.
Well, it's always a great feeling when you win football matches, and as well as England have done this afternoon, it really is about Wednesday evening.
Roland Nielsen with the cross, Kenneth Anderson well placed in the middle.
Well, once again, Sweden getting into wide areas, always looking for the height of Kenneth Anderson. He really is a handful for any sort of defenders. And certainly Bulgaria are going to have to deal with that during this evening.
And it's almost damage limitation, you suspect, from Bulgaria's point of view. They know they're in a pretty hopeless position in the group. They just don't want to suffer further embarrassment here. Coming to something of a decline since that terrific Bulgarian team which reached the World Cup semi-finals in 1994. Although, in fairness, they did reach the Euro 96 finals, and indeed, of course, they were in the World Cup last year, although disappointed badly on both occasions. Coming up to 15 minutes gone. No goals. Sweden against Bulgaria in Group 5. England having thrashed Luxembourg 6-0 at Wembley earlier in the group. Sweden have been pretty much in control at the back. Roland Nielsen's long ball, looking for Kenneth Anderson. We cannot believe that the award of a free kick has gone against him. Foul on Rosen Kirillov, who was in Bulgaria's World Cup squad but didn't actually play for them. Easy clearance for Bjorklund. Ljungberg, the Arsenal player. Quite a bit of British interest in the Swedish team today. Several who either still are or have played in British football. And now the giant Christoph in possession. He's 6'3", the big number 9 there for Bulgaria. Nominally a midfield player, though he's been pushed forward for most of this opening quarter of an hour. Patrick Anderson, one of the most experienced in Sweden's team with over 60 caps to his name. And a mistake there by Daniel Anderson. His younger brother has given a huge Christoph possession again, but a disappointing ball by him.
Well, it's a very sloppy game at the moment. I think both sides, really, Sweden have failed to capitalise on what was an excellent start. The first 10 minutes, they really were powerful. They played with a great tempo, always looking to put Bulgaria under pressure. The goal didn't come, and at the moment, they've just taken their foot off the gas a wee bit, and they're just certainly not showing the quality they showed early on in the game.
Before that defeat in Dublin against the Irish, which I mentioned before, they'd actually gone 10 internationals without losing Sweden, and that was over a period of more than a year. 8 victories in that time. They really have become one of the most consistent teams in European football. A nice mixture of youth and experience, and talented footballers, and an excellent home record as England counter their cost. Good ball into the middle. Henrik Larsson's downward header, and that was a good save on the line by Ivankov.
Well, that's great play from Sweden. It really was epitome of what they did early in this game, and it's a terrific ball from Kamak on that left back, left forward position, and Larsson rises majestically, really, and he's unfortunate because it's a powerful header, but it's a well-directed header, and Ivankov makes a terrific save down to his left-hand side.
Roland Nielsen picking out the Celtic man again. That was a little nudge, but he still got away, and it's a lovely ball into the middle, and that should have been the opening goal for Sweden. That's 2 great opportunities they've missed now inside the first 17 minutes. Larsson, the creator here.
Well, this really is a wonderful opportunity for Sweden, and Henrik Larsson does superbly well there. And, heavens, that's an awful, awful miss, because really Sweden have got a great opportunity to go 1-0 up there. And Freddie Ljungberg knows it, because that is a terrific opportunity for the home team.
Though he can only score goals against Manchester United, of course, because in his year or so at Highbury, his only 2 goals in almost 30 appearances have both come against the champions of Europe.
You don't need to score against anybody else after you scored against them, do you?
Well, he really could have done with scoring for his country there. It would have settled them down, even though they've made a confident start here. That first goal, all important.
Well, Bulgaria have been very poor. It really is a transition period for the Bulgarians at this moment in time, but when you look at the way they've come out to play here, they certainly look devoid of ideas, short of confidence.
Against the Swedish team, who are quite the opposite, after victory in 9 of their last 12 internationals. And with only a trip to Luxembourg to come, they would surely believe, if they win this match, that they're home and dry and into next summer's finals. Patrick Anderson holding it on to Johan Mjalby, the Celtic man who missed that golden opportunity inside 5 minutes to give them the lead. So 2 of their British-based players, the guilty parties so far, that we still have, with almost 20 minutes gone, that 0-0 scoreline. Good layoff by Christoph, and the first tester here for Roland Nielsen. Well, he's always been a terrifically fit, very professional footballer, much admired by managers and coaches at his English clubs and those in Sweden. A dangerous looking ball, Hakan Milt waiting on the far post. Ivankov handles it safely for Bulgaria.
Well, again, nothing complicated about Sweden's play, Alan. Get the ball into wide areas and make sure that you're getting crosses either into the near post or far post, either for Larsson or Anderson. Or can Mjalby get forward from that midfield position and create problems?
Getting it off, turning it back into his own half, anxious just to try and keep some kind of possession here for a few moments, the Bulgarians. Not very adventurous. And the home fans show what they think of this. Finally, Stoilov looking for the inevitable outlet of Christoph, who should win most of the headers, and had a very ambitious effort, which had Magnus Hedman, the Coventry City goalkeeper, racing across. Stilian Petrov, another player involved in British football. He's in his first season at Celtic.
He actually looks a very promising youngster, Petrov. John Barnes clearly seen enough of him to take a gamble, I guess, at 20-year-old. But not had too many appearances for Celtic. I think he just came on as a substitute against Dundee United recently. But he is going to be a big star.
The Swedes, having beaten England 2-1 in Sweden a year ago, then went and got that goalless draw at Wembley in June, the only match they haven't won. They've also won in Bulgaria and in Poland, and beat Luxembourg 2-0 at home. An enviable record. And looking to get one back here as Milt heads goalwards. The keeper's totally lost his position, and Henrik Larsson's header is knocked off the line. The goalkeeper hopelessly out of position, and the deflection just took the sting out of the follow-up shot there, but he got away with it there, Ivankov.
Well, they really are all over the place at the moment, Bulgaria, and Sweden have certainly deserved to take an early lead. It hasn't come yet, but there you can see the ball just bobbling around, and I think it's Kirillov on the line that manages to clear the ball, but Henrik Larsson, once again, unfortunate. There's 2 opportunities for him. He could quite easily have had a brace of goals so far, but really Sweden are so dominant at the moment.
Midway through the first half here in Solna, and as Brian Marwood says, Sweden very much in control in every respect bar the scoreline.
It's actually quite amazing when you look at the type of players that they do possess, Sweden, and you look around and they've got, what, 6 goals from 5 games. We saw a game earlier in the year when they only beat Luxembourg 2-0, and when you look at what England have done to Luxembourg today, quite amazing with the amount of power and quality, the likes of Larsson, Ljungberg, and Anderson that they don't get more goals.
Patrick Anderson comes forward himself, looking for Henrik Larsson. Markov got it clear. It'll be Sweden's throw. Ljungberg. Roland Nielsen. Clever little ball infield to Milk. He's found a way through here. Henrik Larsson might. Well, surely it's only a matter of time before Sweden get the breakthrough. Ooh, that was a dangerously high boot there. The referee has allowed play to go on with Bulgaria in possession. And Sweden, for one, stretched. Decent cross as well. And Christoph always favourite to win it. But the concern at the moment for Bulgaria is in the shape of that very nasty knock to the face of Zagorčić. And this is how it happened.
Well, he's very brave, isn't he? I think Mjolby clearly sees the ball, looks to really try and hook the ball on. But Zagorčić really does take it straight in the forehead, and that may well be stitches for the Bulgarian centre-half. It's a very brave header indeed.
Miss Hedman explaining a point meantime to Joachim Björklund and the players using this opportunity to get a bit of liquid on board on this very, very hot day. Johan Mjolby is known as Celtic's answer to Vinnie Jones, so I think even Vinnie would have been, well, proud is the right word, but maybe a little bit sheepish about that challenge.
There's one thing, I think he's going to have a rip-roaring headache in the morning.
Let's remind you, during the break in play here, of what's coming up in the forthcoming week on Sky Sports. Liverpool against Manchester United, a morning kick-off next Saturday at Anfield, exclusive live coverage of that game. And then it's Bradford against Tottenham, our Super Sunday offering from Yorkshire. I'm not sure if we'll see too much more of Zagorčić, and there indeed is confirmation that he will play no further part in this game. Zlatko Jankov taking his place. Very experienced player who played in most of the matches in the 1994 World Cup for Bulgaria, and also a couple in France last summer. Zagorčić, a younger man. His energy will be missed in the middle. The player is actually Serbian, who became a naturalised Bulgarian, and he's only missed one of the qualifiers. He's become an important man for them. But he'll play no further part. 20 minutes before half-time. And Sweden start again with Celtic's Henrik Larsson. What a success he's been in Scotland. Mjolby lifts it forward, and a chance here. Well, the goalkeeper knew that was going over the bar from Milk.
Well, that's a disappointing finish, and well, the Swedish coaches can't get too frustrated. Mild and Ljungberg just alternating between right and left, and once again, it's that height of Kenneth Anderson is always going to pose problems, and Mild really just doesn't catch it as well as he would like. But really, it's amazing that 26 minutes have gone, Alan, and Sweden don't find themselves in front in this game. They have been totally dominant.
They haven't been prolific scorers, but they've certainly done enough in all their matches. Moved a little flick on. Larsson trying to get away from the defender. Roland Nielsen tried to hit it. A desperate challenge from Markov is enough to deflect the ball. In actual fact, the referee has given a throw to Bulgaria, so that must have gone clean out from that shot.
I think this is a period in the game where Sweden can't afford to get too frustrated. They know they've been the better side. They know they've had chances, and they really ought to know that goals will come. We just have to maintain this level of play.
Oh, the header onto the top of the crossbar, and that was almost the breakthrough Sweden have been threatening from Kenneth Anderson.
Well, once again, it's a supply of Freddie Ljungberg. Arsene Wenger will be pleased to see him in this particular form. And Kenneth Anderson just makes a run near post. A little flick. The goalkeeper is no man's land. That ball bounces agonisingly off the bar, and there you can see the desperation of Henrik Larsson, because he's looking to sniff out any chances at the far post. But once again, Sweden, they can't believe their luck.
Roland Nilsson for Sweden. Forced to check back, but he found a way through and then finally hauled down by Todorov.
Well, people will tell you that play was Roland Nilsson at Sheffield Wednesday in Coventry. He's a magnificent athlete. He really just keeps going all through the game. You always get the same sort of commitment. You always seem to get the same quality in the level of performance. He really has been a wonderful servant to the Swedish side.
And because of that challenge, Todorov becomes the first player of the game to be cautioned. Yellow card, very important at this stage of the competition for those carrying previous bookings into this match. The threat, of course, of being suspended from the next match in the group. As Larsson uses excellent control to keep possession there, and the shot into the crowd could have wrong-footed the goalkeeper again.
Once again, Alan, Kenneth Anderson is causing all sorts of problems at the moment. He has been magnificent in this first half. They've thrown balls up to him, and whatever height, he seems to deal with it very competently indeed. Got a great touch, great skill for a big man.
The most experienced player in the Swedish team, Kenneth Anderson. It's his 71st cap tonight, and he's got 30 international goals. What an excellent record. Patrick Anderson and Hedman indulging in a bit of keep ball at the other end. Milt helping it on. Christoph wins it back, but only temporarily, and Bulgaria have hardly had 3 or 4 passes strung together in this opening half an hour. Dominated by the Swedes. A little push there by Larsson. I'm sure that's what the defender is claiming. Petkov, but the referee hasn't given it. Quarter of an hour to half-time.
You can see the sort of domination there when you look at the stats, Alan. 64% that Sweden have had this ball.
And another dangerous ball in. The goalkeeper's punch clear was risky again, but he's leaning on a little bit of luck at the moment. Now Ljungberg. Good effort. That wasn't far off target.
Well, lots of chances, and certainly the home fans really are buzzed up with this particular performance. Their team at the moment is so dominant, but they can't quite get the clinical finish, or certainly the clinical chances to be created in the last third that their play so far has deserved.
Handball spotted there. Marian Christoph, the culprit. And Larsson quite clearly tripped. And having a lot of problems coping with him.
Well, Kirillov, the defender there, really certainly paying the price for getting far too tight to Henrik Larsson. And once Larsson knows he's that tight, he just rolls him and quite easily wins a free kick.
Wilson with a little tap for Hakan Milt. Turn there by Todorov. And keeps possession well, and indeed wins his team a free kick. Svetoslav Todorov, he's only 21.
Well, that's important. I'm sure that the Bulgarian defenders will be absolutely delighted to see Todorov there, just winning his side a free kick. It just takes a little bit more pressure off their back four, because they really have had to withstand an onslaught, really, from Sweden.
Christoph with a neat turn for such a big man, and felt he should have had a free kick there, but the referee has said play on. Milk did well under pressure to find Roland Nielsen. But always difficult when a team pulls so many players back behind the ball to find that chink of light. Patience, the name of the game for Sweden. And had they put away any of those early opportunities, it could have been a different game. As I mentioned, they've just got one more away game in the group. It's in Luxembourg on Wednesday, and then their final match is at home to Poland in this stadium in October. There's Ljungberg. Good challenge by Stoilov to win it back for Bulgaria. Petkov for that. Edmund thought about coming, then realised the ball was not going to reach him. But a pretty poor effort to round off that attack.
Well, it's their first opportunity, a real opportunity on goal. Certainly Bulgaria at the moment have been very disappointing, certainly from an attacking sense. Defensively, they've worked very hard indeed, and the Bulgarian coach will be quite delighted with their spirit.
Larsson's cross, an excellent one, and the goalkeeper was struggling to get across then. And another golden opportunity goes begging, this time once again for Kenneth Anderson.
Well, Sweden really are wondering what they have to do to score. This is a wonderful cross. It has pace, it has power, and there's Kenneth Anderson once again, so dominant from an aerial point of view. Again, trying to direct his header inside the post. And Ivankov just delighted to see the ball going wide.
32 now, he's been around the club and international scene for a long time, Kenneth Anderson. Still playing in Italy, in fact got a move from Lazio to Bologna during the summer. Now almost profiting there. He's braved the goalkeeper to go down with the feet were flying, as we see again Kenneth Anderson's missed header. Less than 10 minutes of the half remaining here. Sweden in the yellow jerseys, the Group 5 leaders, remember, with 13 points at the start of play. England closing the gap somewhat with that emphatic victory over Luxembourg at Wembley by 6-0 earlier today. But it would be a major, major upset if Sweden weren't to go on and win this group. A bit of work to do, the Swedes here, to keep Bulgaria at bay, but the quality of the shooting on the rare occasions Bulgaria have had a glimpse of goal has been found wanting. Petrov, the man who missed there.
Well, that is disappointing, but it's quite a fascinating battle actually between the two sides, because Sweden have been so dominant and Bulgaria have had to defend for most of this first half, and they've actually been very resolute, been very professional. They've had a little bit of luck. Of course, Sweden have created some very good chances. But can they hang on, certainly till half-time?
Petrov's given it away again. The long ball forward by Pontus Kormark, the former Leicester player, finding Ljungberg. And Ljungberg's cross much too deep for Henrik Larsson.
That's disappointing from Freddie Ljungberg. It's not his natural side, the left side, but the Swedish coach, Tommy Soderberg, actually prefers him playing on the left to try and cut in on his right foot, either provide crosses or look to shoot. That time, very disappointing final effort from him.
It was Soderberg who actually brought Ljungberg into the international team. He made his debut in Soderberg's first match in charge against the United States, and also scored the first goal of the new coach's regime. Oh, a wild swipe there by Daniel Anderson in the middle. Felt that from here.
Well, that might just earn Daniel Anderson a booking, because that clearly is late. And Petrov feeling the full force of that challenge from Daniel Anderson.
I'm sure he can have no complaints there. One of a very talented footballing family, Daniel Anderson, Patrick Anderson, in the current Swedish team. Their father, Roy, was also an international a few years ago. Ball taking ages to come down there, and finally Pontus Korma gets it away. Left Leicester City in the summer on a free transfer to join AIK of Stockholm, Swedish champions, and the UEFA delegates watch with some difficulty in the strong sunshine here. Limit off, almost opening up the chance for a cross. Anderson going in, but Bulgaria keep possession. Another good challenge though from Ljungberg, who was being hauled back surely. Sweden's free kick.
Well, he's a real prodigious worker, Freddie Ljungberg. He really is prepared to roll up the sleeves and muck in when his side have got to defend. And I've got to say, they haven't had to do it that often in this first half, but there you can see him winning tackles, and clearly a foul by Stoichkov.
Bulgaria will be very grateful to get to the half-time break without conceding a goal here. They've had to use a combination of good fortune and good defending to keep Sweden at bay so far. Roland Nilsson for the Swedes. Anderson took it well for a big man. Lovely little ball forward too, and Mjällby's taken another another casualty for the high kick. This time, Georgi Markov.
Well, again, Markov is the player that's down injured, but Mjällby always looking to get into those areas between the two strikers. Kenneth Anderson really brings the ball down terrifically well, and Mjällby making that run between the strikers of Larsson and Anderson, and Markov catching it again, similar to his centre-half partner, who is now in the dressing room, and he may well be joining him.
So it's been an anxious first half for Dimitar Dimitrov, the coach of Bulgaria. He's had a year in charge of the team now, trying to introduce a few new young players to replace the likes of the great Hristo Stoichkov, who's amongst the crowd here today, incidentally. So many great players Bulgaria had in that team of the early, mid-80s. But they are struggling to find adequate replacements in international terms these days.
Well, it really is a rebuilding job for the Bulgarian coach, and he'll be quite pleased with what he's seen so far in the first half, in the sense of how well they've defended. They have had a mixture of luck, but also in great fairness to his defenders and midfield players. They've worked very hard indeed to try and make sure that they kept a clean sheet, and they've done that successfully so far.
And the Swedish coach Tommy Söderberg helping to distribute the energy drinks. And Markov might need a little bit more than that. Well, Mjällby has quite literally made his mark for Sweden in this first half. It's the second Bulgarian who's stretched it off as a result of high challenges from the Celtic player. No wonder they call him Sweden's answer to Vinnie Jones. I'm beginning to understand why now. So there'll be a fair amount of stoppage time for the Israeli referee to add. Pontus Korma for Sweden. Clearance by the substitute, Zlatko Yankov. And this time it's the Swedish player, Mild, on the end of a high challenge. The referee might have to have a word with one or two of the offenders here.
Well, they've all been a little bit unlucky. I think that initially it's Petkov that makes the challenge, but at the moment, I think actually this little break in play will suit the Bulgarians more than the Swedes, because he's certainly just breaking up the pattern of the game.
Nielsen's cross, an excellent one! Oh, the post denies Sweden, and Mild again, and still an opportunity. Mjällby tried to shoot. It was well blocked by Petrov, still a threat, and this time Ivankov holds onto the ball well. Well, Sweden at the beginning and end of the half have been so close to a goal.
Well, you just can't believe that they haven't scored, because Mild really ought to have finished that. He's a little bit unlucky, perhaps just the slightest nick from the goalkeeper Ivankov onto the post, but once again Sweden, they've had numerous chances and they ought to have finished this game by now.
Well, with due respect, unless you're playing Luxembourg, goals are still a very hard commodity to achieve at international level, and Sweden are finding that, despite all their pressure, despite all their chances. It's looking increasingly likely that they'll go in at half-time goalless.
Well, that's poor marking. That really is poor marking. Mild has popped up in a centre-forward position, as Anderson has gone far post, Larsson's gone near, and once again, midfield players making those runs. They do it very well, but unfortunately, it hasn't got them a goal.
Ljungberg with an excellent ball. Henrik Larsson tried to take it in his stride, and for once failed. And he's been a live wire threat to Bulgaria throughout, the Celtic player. And there he is again to come and win it back, and took a hard challenge from behind as well. And it suddenly opens up for Kenneth Anderson. Handball, the claim. Well, there was a very loud shout there from the Swedish supporters and Kenneth Anderson. And the referee says no, it was down there somewhere.
I think it's still a handball, though. Well, I think that Sweden can count themselves unfortunate on numerous occasions, because that clearly is a handball. I can only think the referee thinks that the defender had no chance to get out of the way.
And the pressure continues, and Kenneth Anderson almost sneaked in again on the far post for Sweden.
Well, this will be a very relieved Bulgarian side when this referee blows the whistle, because not only have they had chances, they've had perhaps controversial decisions like that one we've just seen as far as a handball in the box. 3 minutes to play, and this will be a long 3 minutes for this Bulgarian defence.
Well, if the referee thought that was accidental handball, fair enough, but he certainly needs a biology lesson. That was not the elbow of the defender. The substitute was Latko Yankov that made contact with the ball then. 3 minutes of stoppage time for Bulgaria to keep their goal intact. Anderson with the flick on. And they're playing a virtual three-man attack now, Sweden. High, steep stands here in Solna, making a good atmosphere. But the home crowd really need that goal to spark them off. Anderson's through ball, swept away with ease by the Bulgarian defender Stoilov. Larsson claimed he was knocked off the ball there, but the referee not interested again.
Kirillov has gone tight on Henrik Larsson whenever possible. He's going to have to be careful, this Bulgarian defender, because he almost gets too tight, and that's 3 or 4 occasions where Larsson has just rolled him, and he's a little bit unfortunate not to get a free kick.
Brilliant skill again by Larsson. Mills' cross just cut out before it reached Kenneth Anderson, who is the target almost every time that Sweden are in possession in this half. A player that Bulgaria have not been able to deal with so far. And that looks like Kormak down injured.
Well, he takes quite a bang here from the Bulgarian right back Stoilov, and you can see there the knee is high, and I think it catches Kormak in the back. It's actually Boromir, and we haven't seen too much of him, and when we have seen him, he's creating challenges like that Kormak certainly won't appreciate.
Had a lot of bad luck in his Leicester City days with injuries. Forced him to miss an awful lot of games. And this to be taken free kick was a little too hasty. Offside decision. Home fans feeling that Bulgaria are deliberately wasting time here by insisting a defender rather than the goalkeeper takes these kicks. Shistov with a header on, he continues to look dangerous. And if they do manage to get far enough forward to win a corner, Bulgaria, then Sweden are going to have to watch him. Pekov with the throw. All the way back from Stoilov into his own half. Hughes for Markov, who Swedish fans thinking he exaggerated a little when he went down injured a little earlier. And as we reach the end of the first half here in Solna, it's been a story of total domination really by Sweden. Several missed chances. Kenneth Anderson in particular could have scored on a couple of occasions. Sweden though go in goalless at half-time here in Group 5. It's Sweden 0, Bulgaria 0.
Get a bit nervy and a bit edgy, but I think the Swedes will just play with confidence, carry on, and if they get a point, they'll take it, knowing that I think they're almost 100% certain of beating Luxembourg on Wednesday.
So it's back to the Rosanda Stadium, where of course it all started for England, as we rejoin Brian Marwood and Alan Parry.
Thank you, Richard. Welcome back to the Rosanda Stadium. Sweden about to get the second half underway here. Their best performance in the European Championships came when they hosted the tournament some 7 years ago now. They reached the semi-final before losing to Germany. They've never, as I mentioned in the first half, reached the finals through the qualifiers. Doesn't look as though either coach has made any change during the half-time interval. So Sweden really looking to build on their first half performance. They did as much as they could but didn't get the goal, and therefore Bulgaria are still in with a hope here. And Sweden get the game underway. Patrick Anderson with a little ball for Ljungberg. And Bjorklund, the two central defenders with so little to do so far. There has been a change actually. Christo Joviov coming on for Todorov. And Sweden on the back foot for once, but no real problem for Pontus Kormak. And Magnus Hedman has not had a save to make in the Swedish goal. He's only conceded once in his last 7 internationals, the Coventry keeper, who wins his 18th cap for his country today. Kormak over the head of Kenneth Anderson. And Sweden carefully build again. There's a dilemma when it's still 0-0, because for all their pressure and for all their domination of the game, one error could let Bulgaria in. Difficult to fault Sweden. They've done everything but score, and it's hard to see how they could really improve on their first half performance. Should get themselves a corner here, unless the goalkeeper can keep it in, which he managed to do.
Well, much to the annoyance of Henrik Larsson and Freddie Ljungberg, they've clearly felt that that was a corner, but once again Sweden starting very much in the fashion in the way they played in the first 45 minutes, and Bulgaria are going to have some defending to do once again in this second half. And are they up to the task in the manner that they were in the first 45?
Mild, who came as close as anyone in that first half to scoring. And the captain, Patrick Anderson. Kenneth Anderson's layoff. Roland Nilsson gave the ball away. Fortunately for him, it wasn't in a dangerous position, and Sweden win it back again. Milt in a good position, edge of the box here. Goes down under the challenge from Borimirov. No free kick given. Storming run here by Georgi Markov. It's the first time he's got this far forward, and he's causing a real problem for Pontus Kormak. But the former Leicester man, very cool.
Great defending.
He wasn't too cool there. He's given it away to Christoph.
Well, having done such great work, Pontus Kormak, he decides to really sort of lose concentration and focus, and Ristov very nearly getting in, and certainly so much power that this number 9 for Bulgaria possesses.
Played in the World Cup. Made a couple of appearances last summer, Christoph, for Bulgaria. A layoff by Larsson. Rimirov winning it back. This is the most adventurous Bulgaria have been in the game. And remember, they failed to get beyond the opening round of Euro 96 in England, and they actually finished bottom of their qualifying group in the World Cup last summer. They got only 1 point and scored only 1 goal. And the tournament ended with a 6-1 humiliation at the hands of Spain. It was Bulgaria's heaviest defeat in international football for over 30 years. Patrick Anderson looking for Henrik Larsson. Milk with the shot. First time effort. Way over the bar.
Well, it's a very effective system that Sweden employ, and really all they do is get the ball up very early to their front two. Larsson and Anderson have been so dominant, and really it's then can you feed from the bits and pieces around them, and they've done it quite effectively, but not effective enough to get them on the score sheet so far.
I guess Sweden would think that a point would be sufficient, really. It would take them on to 14. England have gone on to 12 points in this group now. But remember, Sweden's next game is against Luxembourg, and it's very difficult to see them gaining anything other than a victory there. And they've still got the match against Poland to come, so they're in a very, very strong position in Group 5, the Swedes, even if they slip up today.
Well, you wouldn't expect them to relinquish top spot this so late in the group now, and of course it's whether it's Poland or England who are fighting for that qualifying spot.
Daniel Andersson in possession for the Swedes. I'll be closing defenders down, and I'll show him some respect after his high challenges in the first half. 1-2 risks at the back here, Bulgaria. Now pissed off for that. And suddenly they show danger. Petrov on the ball, and they win their first corner of the game.
Well, he'll be disappointed, Petrov, because it hasn't happened that often that Bulgaria have had the sort of break and numbers advantage that they clearly had on that particular opportunity, but Petrov really failing to capitalise on Christoph's good work.
Well, now, as I mentioned, Christoph could be a real danger to the Swedes here. They'll pull Kenneth Anderson back, presumably, to try and keep an eye on him. He's the only one who can match him for height. Good defending. But the danger hasn't gone yet. Petkov. Easy catch for Magnus Hedman. A rather hasty kick by the Coventry keeper, who has succeeded Thomas Ravelli. He of the mad staring eyes, but a great fixture for so long in Swedish football, won well over 100 caps for them. Hedman has had to be patient both at club and international level. Of course, Steve Igricevic keeping him out for so long at Coventry City. But Hedman very much first choice now, though a few goals have been rattled past him in the Premiership already this season. Free kick to Bulgaria.
I think what Sweden have begun to do, which I think perhaps is a sign of frustration, is they've made the game very narrow now. Mild and Ljungberg, who did it so successfully in the first half and getting great width and allowing certainly Larsson and Anderson to certainly take up some great positions. They've now narrowed the pitch for them as far as an attacking sense, and really Anderson and Larsson are not getting the type of service that they did in the first 45 minutes.
And consequently, Bulgaria are coming back into this game. Credit to the coach for those little tactical switches that have just altered the pattern of play. Pretty inconsequential in one sense, because you can't see Bulgaria, of course. This is their 7th game now, and they've only got 5 points, so they're not going to make any impact in the group, but nonetheless there's professional pride at stake.
I think what will be a bonus for Dimitrov, the Bulgarian coach, is that this is a rebuilding process for the Bulgarians. They are really starting from scratch. They really have ripped apart what was a very successful side in the late 80s, early 90s. But now it's time for fresh young legs, and well, if his side can produce this type of spirited performance, he seems to be on the right lines.
The latest FIFA World standings ranked the Bulgarians way down in 34th place, behind countries like Zambia and Tunisia, and that for a team who got to the semi-finals of the '94 World Cup. Not acceptable. Larson could punish them here. He's still in possession. Unlucky. Berg lost his man and almost lost the ball. It took two to dispossess him, but Imirov coming in to help out.
I'll tell you what, Imirov did superbly well at the far post against Henrik Larsson. Larsson looked as if he was certainly on to score the first goal in this game, and he tracked back extremely well and got in a very good tackle indeed.
Anderson. Mill. Nielsen. There's a lot more pressure coming on Sweden now, and Hristov could find a way through here. It was surely a push on Joachim Björklund, and he was very grateful for that, because he was in a little bit of trouble anyway, the defender. Lovely ball. Ljungberg in the box, and wins the corner off Markov.
What a ball that was from Kamak, from the left-back position with the outside of his right foot. Just produced an absolutely magnificent defence-splitting ball, and Freddie Ljungberg just getting his breath back there. I'm not sure whether that was because of the pass. He was beginning to get a little bit tired.
Neil Anderson's corner. And that was a poor set piece really by Sweden. They're a little lucky to keep possession. Roland Nielsen. Difficult one for the keeper in the crowd. And Mjalby almost scores, headed right off the line. The substitute, Yankov, saving Bulgaria yet again.
Well, if Ivankov, the goalkeeper, can't come and claim and make chances, certainly are going to come for Sweden. And really, with the power of the likes of Mjalby and Anderson, really is under fire.
And the noise cranks up the volume again. Can Sweden respond with that so far elusive goal? Mjalby's header pretty tame.
I've got to say, although the Swedish display has been very good at times, their set pieces have been extremely disappointing, especially with the height advantage that they've got and how powerful they have looked in open play. From set pieces, has been very poor.
There's going to be another caution here for this foul on Patrick Anderson.
Kirillov just clearly late on the Swedish captain in centre-half. Does make an incredible meal of it, doesn't he? Patrick Anderson. There's a twist in the pike at the end.
And Rovers fans will remember him, of course. He was signed to them by Kenny Dalglish and spent a year at Ewood Park. He's now at Bayern Munich in Germany. Kirillov yellow carded for that tackle on him. Wilson with the free kick. Mjalby, a threat in the air. Look out two for Kenneth Anderson. Ljungberg shot through the crowd, could have caused danger, but instead it's Hristov who brings it away for Bulgaria. Checked out cleverly, young Stilian Petrov, and there's a good ball too, and suddenly Sweden found themselves in a little bit of trouble as one of the other substitutes, Hristo Jobov, is inside their penalty area. Henrik Larsson's header. Hakan Mill, experienced player over 50 caps to his name, goes down. And referee, I think, is going to reach for another yellow card here.
Well, it's Petkov this time, and Hakan Mill clearly has room and space to run onto, and Mild. Petkov knows that Mild has to be brought down, and it's rather cynical, certainly, from the Bulgarian number 10.
Daniel Anderson's free kick, a little too easy for Bulgaria to deal with. Yorkland wins it back, however. Anderson again, another off-the-ball challenge there that the referee isn't punished because Sweden were in possession. It'll be interesting to see if he comes back and takes further action now.
Well, he really is riding in agony, Freddie Ljungberg, and certainly the Swedish coach or the Arsenal coach won't want to see that. And the referee now going for his notebook, and if this is Petkov, he's just been booked, and this will be a red card if it's the number 10. He is a player involved. Certainly a lot of players in and around the referee at the moment.
Yeah, dismissal. An ironic smile from Petkov. Initially, anyway. He'll do a lot wrong. There's a bit of a tangle of legs.
Well, he has 3 or 4 bites at this one. I think the first one looks very high, but really it doesn't look an awful lot wrong unless he has caught him late. But the referee allowed play to go on, and certainly Petkov is still pleading innocence.
Certainly pulled Ljungberg back by the jersey, but having been cautioned, what, 3 minutes earlier, it was a very foolish thing to do from Petkov's point of view, really.
It was red missed time, wasn't it?
Tested the referee's patience too far, and with half an hour still to play, Bulgaria are going to have to get by with 10 men. And that'll do nicely for Tommy Söderberg, the Swedish coach, former under-21 coach here in Sweden. 2 years in charge now. And if Arsene Wenger is watching, he'll be very anxious at the moment, because with all the injuries that Arsenal are having to endure at the moment, a further one is not what was planned. There's the great Hristo Stoichkov, world superstar for so many years. Petulant, temperamental, but brilliantly talented player. Now retired from international football. Vladimir for Bulgaria, who've had difficulty coping with 11 men, but now have one less out there.
I actually believe that Sweden were ready to just shuffle the pack a wee bit, because in the second half, although they've had a lot of possession, they haven't really quite opened the Bulgarians up in the fashion they did in the first 45 minutes. But now it may just change the total complex of this game. Of course, if Ljungberg doesn't come back, they've got the Sheffield Wednesday wide player Nicholas Alexanderson to come on, and he's just warming up at the moment.
And they're on his feet on the far side of the stadium, but not looking too comfortable at all as Mjalby wins it back. And the Celtic teammate Larson brought down Bulgaria's tactics by a further teammate there, in fact, Petrov. Bulgaria's physical play becoming more evident now.
There's one thing you've got to say about the Bulgarians: they haven't certainly sat back and let Sweden steamroll them. They have had to endure a lot of possession, a lot of pressure on them, but they certainly have kept very solid.
Kenneth Anderson here for Sweden. Stoilov blocked his attempted shot. Hristov heads it on. And Ljungberg, as you can see there, left-hand side of the picture, still in a bit of trouble. And the goalkeeper's taken a risk too many, surely this time. Well, he is leading a very charmed life. Dimitar Ivankov. Georgi Markov getting away off the line again.
Well, he's clearly made his mind up. Whenever that ball is floated up into the air, he wants to come. He's very eager. But that's 2 occasions there where he's come to claim. He really is totally out of position, and defenders have had to clear off the line. And that time it's a number 5 Markov that saved the goalkeeper's blushes.
Oh, with some goalkeepers, wild horses wouldn't drag them out of the 6-yard box, but this guy's the complete opposite. Any opportunity, he's out there on the edge of the 12-yard, 18-yard line, and Nicholas Anderson has now come on, as you can see there, for Fredrik Ljungberg. So one English-based Premiership player for another. Anderson's played all 6 matches for Sheffield Wednesday this season. Nielsen knocks it forward. And an early touch. Nielsen again. Mjällby's layoff. The header by Björklund. Roland Nielsen. Mjällby. It's a poor ball by the Celtic player. Now Jovov couldn't keep it. But it looks like Bulgaria, who made a spirited start to the second half, have now given up all semblance of trying to attack. They've just got every one of their 10 players back behind the ball. But it still shouldn't prevent them going a goal behind, and it hasn't. Well, what an introduction for Niklas Alexandersson. He's only been on the field for a minute, and he's given Sweden the lead.
Well, it really is what they deserved, Alan, because they really have carved them open time and time again, in particular the first 45 minutes. And that man is absolutely delighted. Perhaps was just beginning to get frustrated, but wonderful play by Mills and a great ball from Kenneth Anderson to the far post. Alexandersson comes in, gets the right sort of surface to the ball, wonderful build-up on the right, and the goalkeeper, actually, Ivankov, is a little bit unfortunate because he's thrown everything at it. That could have quite easily have gone anywhere, but it has gone to the Swedes, and it's a goal that they deserved because they clearly have been far and better, the best side on view here. And Bulgaria now, well, they've got to come out and do something.
Well, Coach Soderberg will be congratulating himself on an excellent substitution, but in all truth, of course, it was forced upon him by the injury to Fredrik Ljungberg. But Niklas Alexandersson, with what I think was his first touch since replacing the Arsenal man, has finally achieved the breakthrough.
Well, the test now is whether this game is going to end like this or it's going to be 4 or 5, and Bulgaria now have shown a lot of spirit so far, and they can't really be allowed to make certain tackles like that very close to their goal, and really that is committing footballing suicide.
And yet another yellow card, this time for the giant Marian Christoph. 4th Bulgarian player caution now. Sweden had just one, Daniel Andersson. Of course, Bulgaria have also had a red card for Milan Petkov. And there's confirmation of those statistics. They're counting the red as a second yellow card. All adds up to pretty much the same thing. Petkov is in the dressing room. And Sweden are in the lead, and not before time, they'll be thinking. Kumar knocks it long. Kenneth Anderson, Mjällby onto it. Did well, Mjällby! Oh, that was brilliant play. Henrik Larsson there, and somehow Bulgaria survived.
Well, the referee has blown up for an infringement against Sweden, but wonderful play from Mjällby. He showed absolutely magnificent strength on the edge of the box, because when that ball went up to Kenneth Anderson, there's Mjällby. He really doesn't look favourite to win it, but not only does he win it, he gets up quickly, fires a lethal right foot shot that Ivankov makes a terrific save, and really Bulgaria scramble the ball away to safety.
Again with Daniel Anderson. Kenneth Anderson, his shirt tugged there and finally brought down. Well, Bulgaria are resorting now to increasingly desperate tactics to keep Sweden at bay.
Well, Dimitrov, the coach, will be bitterly disappointed with the sending off of Petkov, because up till then his side, well, they've been fairly lucky so far during this game, but having to now defend with 10 men has just really made it impossible.
Look at that double the number of free kicks conceded by the Swedes, by the Bulgarians rather, and the way things are going, you wouldn't be surprised to see another red card. Set up for Anderson to hit it. Yeah, the goalkeeper had that covered.
Well, he certainly hasn't had his shooting boots on from set pieces, because there's an occasion very similar to the one he had in the first half. The ball, very straightforward free kick, knocked to the side of the wall, and screwing his shot wide of the right-hand post.
Jovov. Limirov. Trying to get a bit of composure back now, Bulgaria, but it didn't last for long, did it? And Sweden looking eager for more goals here. They want to finish this off. And Larsen in a tussle for possession with Ivailo Petkov.
I think the front two for Sweden have been absolutely magnificent. Henrik Larsson really has never given up, and there's Kenneth Anderson, provider that time. He's had 3 or 4 opportunities himself to score, but a wonderful cross across the face of the goal, eliminating the goalkeeper Ivankov, and Alexanderson just doing the rest at the far post.
I must say it's third or fourth time in these qualifying games that I've seen Sweden. We've mentioned that excellent team they had with Thomas Ravelli and Brolin and Anders Limpard, of course, that did so well in the early and mid-80s. But this looks a team capable of causing a few problems for allegedly superior opposition in next year's finals, assuming they get there. Yeah,
very much so, and I think there's nothing fancy about their performance, Alan. They've got good shape to them, 4-4-2. They're very professional, very solid, but I think in the front two, that just gives them that extra edge, and a very powerful unit.
Across this time, no problem for Bulgaria, but the way the game is going, it's difficult to see Bulgaria keeping it to 1 goal. 20 minutes remaining, because Alexanderson's strike within a minute of him coming on as a substitute, separating the teams. And Sweden looking good now to go to 16 points and consolidate their position as Group 5 leaders. Further reminder, in case you may have been out enjoying the sunshine rather than watching the football, that England thrashed Luxembourg by 6 goals to 0 at Wembley earlier today with a hat-trick from Alan Shearer. And an excellent win as well for Wales in Belarus. There's Anderson's cross. And again, it was Kenneth Anderson coming in at the far post.
Well, once again, very simple from the Swedish team. They get the ball into wide positions, and they're always looking for either Larsson or Anderson. It's not a great cross from Alexanderson. It's looped up at the far post, but once again, Kenneth Anderson, great determination. Always certain to try and win that ball, and really he has led the line extremely well here this evening.
Unlike Bulgaria, they really have got their act together well again, Sweden. They didn't reach the finals of Euro 96. In fact, they only won 2 of their 8 qualifying matches, and then they failed to reach last year's World Cup finals in a group in which they'd been expected to come through. Austria and Scotland were the qualifiers in the end from that group. They look a force again to be respected. Patrick Anderson, the captain. Certainly a very experienced Swedish team.
Bear in mind as well, without Stefan Schwartz, the Sunderland midfield player, who I'm sure will come back into this side once his suspension is over with, and Hakan Mill there just clearly using his body to the benefit of himself.
Yes, if Schwartz had been available, I'm sure there would have been yet another British-based player in the lineup here. Cormac, the through ball. Only 3 of the Swedish squad of 20 named for this game, and the match against Luxembourg actually played in the Swedish league. The rest of them scattered throughout the major leagues in Europe, and quite a few, as we mentioned, in Britain. There's a good ball by Rimirov, but easily cleaned up by Sweden. He's been so comfortable defensively for most of this game. Now then, and they get that second goal. Henrik Larsson. Alexanderson. Mjällby, plenty of time to bring it down. Daniel Anderson. Yankov bringing it clear. yellow for Brumirov. Play on is the referee's verdict. Sensible decision. Alexandersson for Sweden. And having a terrific match against Manchester United at Hillsborough last season, when Sheffield Wednesday actually beat Alex Ferguson's team. Roland Nielsen. Here's Alexandersson again. Daniel Anderson.
Keep ball time there, isn't it, for the Swedes? They really have just got to maintain this pressure.
They've been stubborn opponents, Bulgaria. Really with a hope of anything other than defeat here, but they've made it very, very difficult for Sweden.
Yeah, they have. It's been a very spirited performance. Been quite impressed with their willingness to work for each other and to try and hang on to this game, and they certainly haven't folded when that goal went in, especially being down to 10 men.
Sweden actually won 6 of their last 7 internationals against Bulgaria, including a 1-0 victory in Bulgaria in what was their opening qualifier almost a year ago now. Henrik Larsson got the winner that day. He also scored in the third-place playoff against them in the 1994 World Cup when Sweden won 4-0. Roland Nielsen's cross. The goalkeeper did rather better this time.
Good goalkeeping. He times has looked very ill at ease coming for crosses, but that time he was very dominant, very positive.
This is Ilian Petrov.
Good as well. Very confident. And he distributes it very well. It's another important part of goalkeeping.
Remember, if Sweden go on to complete victory here today and then, as expected, beat Luxembourg in midweek, they will be confirmed as group winners. That would take them on to 19 points. An unassailable lead.
Well, I think they've been worthy winners of this group, it's got to be said, because they played extremely well in Sweden against England, beating them, and then the performance at Wembley was tremendous. They earned their point, and they certainly fully deserved the draw that they got. Really, it's left England an uphill task now, and to go to Poland on Wednesday night and get the sort of result, what a memorable evening that will be.
Into the final quarter of an hour here in Solna in Sweden, and the home team lead comfortably by 1-0 against a 10-man Bulgarian team who had Milan Petkov sent off in the early stages of this second half for a second yellow card. Zlatko Yankov. Wilken wins it back. Kormar. Wild challenge there on Henrik Larsson, who's taken a third battering today.
Well, Yankov the culprit on that occasion, Alan, but as you've rightly said, Larsson has really taken a battering, because at times it's been Petkov the number 4, or it's been Kiryov the number 6, and that time Yankov, and they really have taken turns as centre-halves to give him a fearful bashing.
Mark doing well to come and win it back, and he sees a gap suddenly opening up. Mjalby. Oof. And would you believe, having missed with so many close-range efforts, Kenneth Anderson almost scores from what, 20, maybe even 25 yards.
Well, it's certainly not been for the want of trying, and Kenneth Anderson has unleashed an absolutely fierce right-foot shot that Ivankov really sees very late and makes a real meal of it, but thankfully for him, he manages to keep.
And suddenly there's another chance for Mjalby, and the goalkeeper didn't have a clue where it was there for a moment. Given away then to Henrik Larsson, who goes down under the challenge. It was a dangerous tackle, in the sense of where he was anyway. And Yankov was sliding in a little hard there. And Anderson, the referee, has given a free kick for the second defence, but not the first one. Well, Kenneth Anderson Well, he scored a very spectacular goal then.
He deserved his goal as well, and he really has led the line extremely well. But he's had 5 opportunities there for goals, and at the moment he hasn't had too much luck.
A back heeler from him there. Mjauby wins it back, but it's at the expense of conceding a free kick.
I think people will look at this scoreline, won't they, tomorrow, and think it was such an even game, such a close game, but clearly the amount of possession Sweden have had, although the coach will be delighted to pick the 3 points up and get them very close to automatic qualification.
Great run here by Alexanderson, and he's picked out a man on the far post. It's Kenneth Anderson, and pull back again towards Alexanderson. And how Sweden didn't score there, I don't know.
Well, it should have been a cricket score, really.
Well, we saw Luxembourg totally out of their depth against England at Wembley, but in many ways Sweden have been almost as dominant against Bulgaria here without getting the goals. Just the one, and a shade over 10 minutes remaining. Komar. Goalkeeper hesitates this time. Inevitably, it's Kenneth Anderson on the end of the cross.
I just can't believe it, Kenny. He's had so many opportunities. It'll be a long time before he's had this amount of attempts on goal. And unfortunately for him, he's failed to capitalise on what has been some extremely good play by the Swedish team.
It's caught sight there of Magnus Svensson, apparently about to come on. Some defending to do for the Swedes, and Roland Nilsson did it very calmly. He's in possession again. Well, it's been surprisingly easy, really, for Sweden today. The biggest surprise is that it's still only 1-0. And here's the man who got the goal, Nicholas Alexanderson, Sheffield Wednesday.
I think the Swedish performance has been very professional. They may not have had the goals that the player deserved, but they certainly have looked very good as a unit, and potentially look at a very dangerous side going into European Championships next summer.
We're almost going through the motions here, but it's still only 1-0. Anderson forcing Bulgaria into defence again, and deep defence at that. The substitution has finally been made. Magnus Svensson, who just recently came back into the national team against Russia, who started a couple of the most recent internationals after being out of favour, has taken the place of Van Mil. 8 minutes to go. Goes towards Kenneth Anderson again, and Svensson gets his first touch early on. Not quite as spectacular as Alexanderson's first kick, which was to dispatch the ball into the back of the net. Well, on another evening, they could have easily had 4 or 5 here, and on this form, goodness knows what they'll do to Luxembourg on Wednesday night.
Perhaps one area of their game that they certainly need to improve upon is their goals tally. We saw them against Luxembourg here, where they only won 2-0, and of course they've won here this evening 1-0, and certainly the scoreline does not reflect the supremacy that they've had in both games.
It's hard to judge them defensively because they've been under no pressure whatsoever. But remember, before this match, they'd only conceded one goal against England, Alan Shearer last year. So I would assume from the statistics that they're going to be a hard team to beat as well.
Well, I think defensively, when you look at their performance at Wembley, it was first class. Again, looking very organised, and I think the nice thing about them is they really do work together very well as a side. They're very effective.
Alexanderson. It was inviting for the defender. Markov slides it out. Here's for Lokomotiv Sofia, one of the top teams in Bulgaria, where their football has been in some disarray for a while now, both on and off the field. There was a drug case in which they took a rather weak line, the Bulgarian FA, against the offending player. The Bulgarian government stepped in and suspended the Football Association, would you believe? And FIFA threatened to suspend the whole nation from international competition, and it just seemed to stagger from one crisis to another, Bulgaria at the moment. But unbelievably here, with 5 minutes remaining, they could still get something out of the game. And that is unbelievable when you think how this match has gone.
Well, I think any coach will tell you it's always a worry when your side are only winning 1-0. But the opposition may just have a period in the game that they may have some domination and get a goal, but I just can't believe that that's going to happen to Bulgaria. And if Sweden were to concede one now, it would be a total injustice.
Cormac releases it early. Henrik Larsson, having his shirt tugged, still managed to control the ball well. Alexanderson. Cormac's there again for Sweden. And it's a question really now of just being sensible, disciplined, professional, making no silly errors, no risks. To Alexanderson. Bulgaria cannot qualify now, of course, get the throw. Petrov. Stoilov. Eliminatorias again. So I'm happy to see Bulgaria around in this area of the field. Yankov tried the through ball and it didn't come off. And they're under pressure again now. Svensson. Mjällby. This is Alexanderson. An urge from the touchline to take on the nearest defender, and that he does, and it wasn't a bad effort either. Corner.
Well, Alexanderson's always going to look to do that, Alan, because he's got to get it onto his favoured right foot. Perhaps could have had his second goal of the game, but the defender showing him inside without really closing him down. It's not a bad effort from there, and Ivankov, once again, having that tendency to look a little bit nervous, just scrambling the ball away.
A rather disappointing set piece for Sweden.
Bunny, is he, the goalkeeper? I think he felt that Mjällby fouled him, but certainly his time is running out now. Bulgarians, well, will this be the spark they need?
Gruev, the player about to come on. Eliminatorias. Foul there on Petrov, who cost Celtic 2.8 million when they signed him from CSKA Sofia. They needed a long battle to get a work permit for him. And now that change is about to be made late on here. Ilya Gruev to replace Stanimir Stoilov. Gruev is the player I referred to earlier, incidentally. He was the one who was found positive for a drugs test. He was dropped from the World Cup squad accordingly and banned for 5 months A sentence that the Bulgarian government didn't think was harsh enough. Compared to that big row that I mentioned. Shot there by Petkov. A rare moment for Hedman to be on his toes. And with a minute to go, the points look safe for Sweden. But really, they should have been coasting to victory here with a comfortable margin. Perhaps they'll get a second. Henrik Larsson sets it up nicely. Chance here for the substitute Svensson, who delayed his shot a little too long. Nielsen's cross. Well, I really have lost count of how many genuine goal-scoring opportunities Sweden have had in this game.
Well, it's amazing because they really ought not to be that careless in front of goal. They have certainly been a little bit unfortunate at times, hitting the crossbar, hitting the post. Kenneth Anderson having a couple of headers cleared off the line, but Svensson ought to have scored there.
Letting it off. 4 minutes added, as you can see. This could be the most emphatic 1-0 victory for a long time. If that's how it remains, anyway. Yankov finding Petrov. Yankov under pressure here from Mjällby. Not seen too much of Christoph in this second half. On Yankov. I would have been quite encouraged to see that 4-minute sign being held up. Bulgaria, it will suddenly maybe give them a belief that they could snatch a very unlikely equaliser, and it would be unlikely. Offside this time.
Well, they didn't throw too much caution to the wind and show a great deal of ambition up to the sending off, and they certainly weren't going to do that once Petkov got sent off. And certainly Dimitrov, the Bulgarian coach, will be very disappointed with that decision, because up till then they had rode their luck, but it was still 0-0.
But certainly Sweden, then, justice has been done here, because there's only been one team trying to win this match, and that's on the Silverbird's side.
Oh, rightly so, fully deserved, absolutely fully deserved, and they do look a very powerful unit, Sweden. I think they could upset one or two, I guess, perhaps more respected favourites come the Euro champs next summer.
Bjorklund, who could have had few quieter matches in his 60-odd international appearances. And all Sweden's performance has lacked, quite literally, has been the finishing touch today. Mjällby for that. And taking care not to try anything too risky. And they're just running down the clock now, basically, Sweden. Mark giving Kenneth Anderson a little run. Svensson, who really should have made it 2-0 a few minutes ago. Here's Daniel Anderson. Mjällby. Won back well. Kenneth Anderson in possession. Tackle from Svensson. being quite meticulous now, a tipping point anyway, and not just slinging the ball in and giving possession back to Bulgaria, but that ball from Nyaldi has given the visiting team a throw. But the clock now ticking towards 94 minutes, and Sweden edging towards a victory that has seemed inevitable all day. It will take them on to 16 points, and it means that if they go to Luxembourg on Wednesday night and win there, then they will have 19 points, and no one can get more than that. 5, and Sweden will duly take their place in the European Championship finals next summer. But they've got a free kick to enjoy here, but not for long. Tommy Söderberg celebrates, and Sweden deservedly get their win with a goal by their substitute Nicholas Alexandersson after a host of missed opportunities. Some good and slightly fortunate work by the Bulgarian defenders and goalkeeper Ivankov. Final score, Sweden 1, Bulgaria